I want to tell you a story about a man who was able to change his situation for him and his men, all because of recognizing that same problem. The story starts in 1519. The name of the man is Hernán Cortez. Hernán was actually a failed explorer who was trying to make a name for himself, right? And somehow he convinced his countrymen to sponsor him to go and say, you know what? I'm gonna go create and go get a gold mine. And he said that I'm going to embark on one of the greatest journeys that has ever been completed. And that was taking over and attacking the Aztec Peninsula. What's the significance of that is that the Aztec Peninsula has been tried to be conquered countless times. But the strategic defensive position that the peninsula put right there, they were able to protect it so well. Many have tried, but many have failed, and none have ever victored before. But there was something about Hernán. People who achieve great things, you gotta be a little crazy. But what Hernán did was make sure, he said, I need to galvanize my men for them to achieve this. And so he did something very real. He started to condition his men. So he told the men before the journey started, guys, the place we're going, the amount of money, the amount of gold, the amount of wealth that we will get will be so vast that not only you will be wealthy, not only your kids will be wealthy, not only your kids' will be wealthy, but generations to come will be feasting on the wealth that we will all get. And so he created this maximum feeling of, wow, these men who can change their life, their children's lives, and their children's lives. All because they recognize that, okay, there's something greater over there. He made them realize that, why are we working our whole lives for something so little? Why are we going so hard when we deserve more? You deserve more, Hernán said. Your wealth in your future is waiting. Follow me and I will take you to the promised land. As they're getting on the boat, the men were galvanized. But on their way of the journey, that thing inside you that tells you, I don't know if this can happen, started to creep. And just like a lot of things, it's like a cancer, right? Sometimes those things that starts in your head just starts to grow and it starts to throb and it starts to tell you like, no, you can't do it. And this same thing started to spread through the ship. His co-captain said, yo, Hernán, they're trying to flip, man. If you don't do something, I don't think we're gonna get through this. And what Hernán did was brilliant. Hernán did was to remind the men why they started. Reminded the men their why. And he told the men, I know that this seems crazy. I know that no other person has done this. But the reason I picked you men is because your desire is so strong. It's because you have nothing over there is the reason why you will make something over here. And he reminded these men, okay, you know what? There is a reason I started this journey. And so somehow, some way, he was able to settle those men down. And they were able to get through the middle passage without a mutiny. And then eventually that time came, and he came to the shores of the Aztec Peninsula. And as he was getting out, and as the men started to see, and as you approach, you can see the natives were almost waiting for them. So as they were looking at the natives, and they were looking back at the natives, the time came again, and this thing started to creep. And this thing started to come up again. And his co-captain said, the men are seeing the forces there. The men are seeing the warriors, line up. What are we gonna do? And he said, let me remind them of their why. And then Hernán, he gets the men off the ship. He gets the men off the ship. And he lines the men up all on the beach. And he makes them remember what they were here for. Guys, remember, The reason you're here is because there's more ahead of you than there'd ever be behind you. Guys, remember that this mission is not just for you, but for your kids. What is waiting on the other side of that battalion, what's waiting on the other side of those rocks, is the greatest treasure ever found. And this started to work a little bit, right? And then Hernán did one of the greatest things in history. He ordered his captains to go and burn the ships. What do you mean burn the ships? He said burn the ships. He said burn the ships. Burn the ships. And the men were like, wait, what are you doing? What do you mean burn the ships? I said burn the ships. Because I know one thing. Let me remind you why you're here. What we're going to go over there is so great. There's so much of it that we won't even have enough to bring on these ships. If you see their ships are bigger than ours. And let me tell you, the reason we're gonna burn our ships is because the only way we're getting off here is we're taking their ships. We're taking their loot, we're taking their gold, we're taking their women, we're taking their bounty, and we're taking it all. Or if not, we're gonna die trying. Because we're not going back. Burn the ships. What Hernán was able to do was create a situation where there's not a backup plan. Was to get them to recognize the why is always greater than the how. What Hernán was able to do was put them in a position where they were either gonna win or die trying. What ships do you have to burn? What things are holding you back? What excuses are you keeping on those boats? Why are you keeping these excuses on lifesavers? Stop keeping excuses. In the end of the day, just burn your ship.